Hello, word nerds, and what? It is cold out there. I just came in from out there. I came from out there to in here, and it's super cold out there. I'm recording this in early December, and in Chicago, it's like, I don't know, negative 100 degrees, it feels like. Okay, my name is Spencer. Hello, everybody. How's it going with you today? How are you feeling? This is episode F70. And the first word in this episode is feudality, picking up where we left off with feudalism in the previous episode. Now we got feudality, noun from 1790. Number one, the quality or state of being feudal. Number two, a feudal holding, domain, or concentration of power. And I think it was all about the Lord holding the land and the people living on the land and stuff. So that place has got some feudality. Oh, my sound effect today will be partly because it's cold out and partly because of a word we got coming up. And it's really warm in here, so I'm going to turn on the fan. Stand by. I'm complaining about the cold. I'm complaining about the heat. Can't get it right. Okay, next word is feudalize. This is a transitive verb from 1828. To make feudal. That's it. Are you gonna make your land a feudal area? You are feudalizing it. Feudalization is a noun. Next we have feudatory. Feudatory. Fun words. This is the first form. It's an adjective from 1592. Number one, owing feudal allegiance. So if you are the person living on the land of the Lord of the feudal place, then you would be a feudatory person because you owe your allegiance to them. They're helping you out in ways, so you got to help them out in ways. Game of Thrones deals with this stuff a lot. Number two, being under the overlordship of a foreign state. So the foreign state, the government from another area is your overlord. So you are under their overlordship, which is just a great word. 3 words of 4 letters each coming together to in holy matrimony to make overlordship. That's feudatory. This is from, well, specifically, it says it's from Middle Latin feudare, which means to enfif. The action of enfiffing, and this word sort of sounds familiar, but it's such a weird word that I gotta look this up. E-N-F? Oh, I do kind of remember Feff and Jeff talking about that one, but this is to enfeff. Maybe it's the same thing, actually. There could be, because, English is funny like that, and so sometimes you put en at the beginning of a thing, and it doesn't really change it much. But let's see, is enfeff in here? Here it is. To invest with a fief or fee. To invest with a fief or fee, and we know fee and feud are kind of related, or exactly the same. And so to enfeff is to do that, investing in that. So yeah, it's all makes sense when you think about it. Now I know everything. Next is the second form of feudatory, noun from 1644. Number one, a dependent lordship, and the synonym is fee. So a dependent lordship. So it's not that the Lord is dependent on anything. I think it's that it's the lordship. The thing is the lordship. It's this not tangible thing between the Lord and the person under the Lord, the vassal. I saw that word before. And so then that person, that group of people are dependent on the Lord. And so they are in a feudatory, I guess. Number two, one holding lands by feudal tenure. One holding lands by feudal tenure. So they're in a feudal situation and they've been there a while. That's their tenure. So because they've been there a while, they get to hold those lands. Is it the Lord? in this situation who is holding the lands, or is it somebody else who's holding? I don't know. Next is feudist. First form, noun from 1607. A specialist in feudal law. They would be a feudist. All they study is feudal law. Now, is this like a modern day thing? Is this still happening? This is from the early 1600s, over 400 years ago. So I'm not so sure if there are people these days who are feudists in this specific context. The second form of feudist is a noun from 1901. Here we go. It's 300 years later, so maybe this one is more similar to what we're used to. One who feuds. That's what it is. I was wondering, is feudist just somebody who loves a feud? Do they hold on to a grudge? Do they just like fighting in a verbal manner? One who feuds. Ah, you're being such a feudist when you're fighting with me. I am not a feudist. I am the opposite of a feudist. What's the opposite? A feudist. Next is, okay, how do you say this word? Feuilleton. Feuilleton. And the N is subtle. It's a subtle N. Feuilleton. It is spelled Feuilleton. Yes, there's two L's. That is a very French spelling, a very Frenchy word. Feuilleton. This is a noun. Oh, other pronunciations are feuilleton, feuilleton, or feuilleton. Okay, noun from 1845. Number 1. A part of a European newspaper or magazine devoted to material designed to entertain the general reader. I think of maybe the comics. That was one of the only sections of the newspaper I used to read. Give me the comics. That's all I want. So it's I want that feuilleton with the general. I'm a general reader, and I need some entertainment. Number 2, something printed in a feuilleton. And the thing, it's an installment of a novel. So sometimes novels are put in magazines or papers or other things in sections, like maybe each chapter. And then you cut them all out and you put them all together and you got the whole novel. So this is the thing. It's a feuilleton put in to a feuilleton. It's for your entertainment. This novel in the short little pieces is for your entertainment. Are you not entertained? 3A, a novel printed in installments. So I guess it doesn't even have to be printed in the feuilleton. It could just be broken up in sections. That's the whole novel now is broken. So you can see an evolution here. Number 3B, a work of fiction catering to popular taste. And that, I think, is very well connected to just the general reader, the entertainment of the general reader, the mass population, maybe those pulp fiction novels or other stuff, pulpy things. Those are probably feuilletons, work of fiction catering to popular taste. Number 4, a short literary composition, often having a familiar tone and reminiscent content. Familiar to who is the question. Who's reminiscent of what? Of just old days? Nostalgia? I, as a 40-something-year-old person, a lot of pop culture stuff out there, at least stuff that I see, is geared towards me and my people and being nostalgic for when we were younger. And obviously there's a lot of stuff for all the younger people, because there's a lot of younger people than me. There's a lot of, anime and things that I never got into. And so, yes, there's a lot of that pop culture stuff too. But I see, I'm wearing a t-shirt that's got Yoda, and I've seen things like a takeoff of the Turtles logo that says, actually, I'm in my 30s, or actually, I'm in my 40s. But I wonder, like, what would it be like if we're so off track right now? What would it have been like if my parents' generation, people born in the 50s, say, if they were the ones who were creating stuff like if like t-shirt companies were popular when they were in their 30s, what sorts of things would they have been making? That's what I would like to know and see. They would be making pop culture stuff from their childhood in the 50s. Howdy Doody sure would have shown up a lot. I think we need some graphic tees for the boomer generation, the people in their 60s and 70s. Lots of Howdy Doody, Lone Ranger, stuff like that. Not always great stuff in terms of social politics. Anyway, let's get back to feuilleton. Feuilleton. Feuilletonism is a noun, and feuilletonist is also a noun. And I apologize. Should have said this before. I apologize if my pronunciation is just the worst stuff you've ever heard in your ears, but this is how I'm saying it. Okay, this word is obviously French. It comes from feuillet, Feuillet. Is it feuillet or feuillette? That is a sheet of paper. From the Old French feuillet, which is from feuille, which means leaf. And there's more at the word foil. So interesting. Yeah, just a piece of paper. Hey, we're putting that stuff on the piece of paper. It's not very clever. Whoa! Next we have foilgen. I guess that's right. Spelled capital Feulgen. Adjective from 1928 of relating to utilizing or staining by the foilgen reaction. And the example is positive foilgen mitochondria. And what is the foilgen reaction? I hear you saying. Brrr. It's the next word. It's a noun from 1928 also, foilgen reaction. The development of a brilliant purple color by DNA in a microscopic preparation stained with a modified Schiff's reagent. Clearly, this is all way over my head, but we're dealing with DNA and clearly mitochondria, and I think these are the things in a cell, and they hold on to the genes and the DNA and something. And so the development of a brilliant purple color. I want to see this brilliant purple color. And so foilgen is just relating to utilizing this whole thing, this reaction, staining from this reaction. The staining, I guess, does that, when you stain it, does it make the purple? This is from Robert Foilgen, who was a German physiologist who died in 1955. And I wonder if I can find the right keys on the keyboard to type foilgen. Yes, reaction. Thank you for filling that up for me. But I want to see the color. I want to see. Let's see. Are these the right? Yes, I did it. I'm so good at typing. Red, purple hue, but let's look at images. Can we see? Yep. Oh, yes. Okay, so this is like that standard purple you see. Sometimes when you see microscopic images from a microscope, a lot of them have this purple stain to them, and that's what this is. That is the color that appears when the foilgen reaction happens, I guess? I think we did it. Next is fever. First form, noun from before the 12th century. Number 1A. A rise of body temperature above the normal. They say that, at least in Fahrenheit, the normal, on average, human body temperature is 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, I guess we should probably say what that is for all the other rest of the world, which is most of it. I need the numbers. 98.6 Fahrenheit to Celsius. That's what I want. Had to duck down, so that's why it sounded all weird. 37 degrees Celsius. Okay, just I needed to know that. And so, but everybody's different. Everybody has a slightly different temperature. I think I run a little bit cool, maybe 98.5, 98.4, something like that, maybe, or maybe 97.9. I don't know. That sounds like a radio station. That is a radio station. And so it's just like whatever you're above your normal is, you got a fever. Your body's like, something's going on. I'm freaking out here. Let's figure this out. 1B. Any of various diseases of which fever is a prominent symptom. So you're calling the disease a fever, which is interesting. I guess we should say, like, why does this happen to the body? There's something that has gone through your whole body, like a flu, the flu thing, and when it's affecting the whole body, the body's like, all right, we got to shut down. We got to take care of this thing. And so I believe what happens is that the brain, the body raises the whole temperature to try to kill the thing that is attacking it. I think a lot of times you just sort of wait it out. I guess there are drugs and stuff that you can take, but usually it's like your fever's going to take care of it, and might be a day, might be 3 days, but geez, it is a weird feeling when you are trying to sleep and you've got a fever and you get the sweaties and you get cold and you can't sleep and your brain is all a fog and you're like having all those fever dreams. Your brain is like, what is going on? And everything is weird and dreamy, and I can't really sleep very well because my brain is like, what is happening? Everything feels just weird, and it's just such a strange feeling when you got a fever. I remember when I was in 4th or 5th grade, and I was sick. I went to the nurse. I had a fever. She checked my temperature, and I went back, and I told my teacher I had a fever. I got to go home. Please let me go. And she said, what's your temperature? And I think I said 103 or 104. And she was like, whoa. That doesn't seem right. And I was like, no, I think that's right. In reality, it was 100.3 or 100.4. And I had gotten it misconstrued in my brain. Because I think once it reaches like 103, 104 up in that region, that's like almost death. That's like really, really, really bad. And so you got to be careful. If it's over 100, that's not good. But 103, 104, you got to really, you got to be in the hospital. Yeah, okay. I did not have that kind of fever. What else do we have for fever? 2A, a state of heightened or intense emotion or activity. Whew, I'm in such a fever because I got all these crazy emotions and intensity flowing through me. Number 2B, a contagious, usually transient enthusiasm. And the synonym is craze. Oh, the world is going to have dictionary fever once they catch on. Oh, it's going to be a crazy craze all over the world once the people realize about this podcast. Dictionary fever. We got the fever for the words. All the words are really awesome, and we love hearing Spencer talk about them. It's always the same song. I love it. Okay, now there's not much any etymology. It's from the Latin febris, and it doesn't say what that means, so I assume it's just fever. Right? We can assume that. The second form of fever is a verb from the 1606, starting with transitive. To throw into a fever, and the synonym is agitate. So I'm going to just throw this podcast out there. I'm going to agitate everything, and everything will then be fevered. Intransitive is to contract or be in a fever, or also become feverish. I don't like being sick. I don't usually get sick. I'm pretty good about not getting sick. Sometimes, actually around this time of year, there was a while where it was like every year I got sick right before Thanksgiving, right before the Christmas, Hanukkah time. And so I guess there's a good chance in the next month. It's winter for me, and our systems are down and all that stuff. So I guess there's a good chance I could get feverish. In the next few weeks, but I really hope not. I eat well and I exercise and I wash my hands a lot and I try to be very careful about what I touch and don't want to catch anything. But sometimes stuff just happens. Next, brrr, fever blister. 2 words. Noun from 1845. I feel like that would be a good name for a band. Fever blister. Whoo. Maybe a punk band. The synonym is cold sore. I've heard of cold sore. Haven't heard of fever blister. You got a blister from your fever. A blister from your fever. A blister from your fever. Brrr. It's a very chilly. I mean, you can have the chills when you have a fever, so that's why it makes sense. Also, it's really cold outside. Next is feverfew. Feverfew? 1 word. Feverfew. It's, F-E-W is the few part. Noun from the 15th century. A perennial European composite herb widely cultivated as an ornamental. And I guess you put it up to make everything look pretty. A feverfew. This species name is Chrysanthemum parthenium. And the name comes from, where does it come from? It comes from Old English feverfuge. I don't know how they said that word. F-E-F-E-R-F-U-G-E, feverfuge. From Lower Latin febrifugia, and we saw febris meant fever, so that makes sense. Febrifugia means centauri. Centauri? Like a centaur? Wait a minute, we gotta look back. Is there a different thing that's centauri that's not related to a centaur? Let's see. Where's the centaur word? Centauri. Oh, it's a genus of low herbs of the gentian family. Old world herb, produces pink flowers, and it's centauri. Yeah, that's it. I don't know if it's related to the horse person at all. Interesting. So febrifugia means centauri. There's more at the word febrifuge, which vaguely remember that happened at some point in the past. Brrr, feverish. That's next. Adjective from the 14th century. Number 1A, tending to cause fever. 1B, having the symptoms of a fever. 1C, indicating or relating to fever. Number 2, marked by intense emotion, activity, or instability. Yeah, instability. I guess, so we're not literally talking about the body when it has a fever, but, I mean, I guess if you're relating to that, maybe the body is a little unstable when it's got a fever. The example is feverish excitement. When all of the people were yelling for Elvis and the Beatles and Michael Jackson and some other people, they had feverish excitement because there was intense emotion, intense activity. They were like, ah! I should keep my hands in the video screen so you can see it. And then in intense instabilities, I mean, some of them were literally falling over. So yes, I think that counts. Feverishly is an adverb, and feverishness is a noun. Okay. Next is feverous. Feverous, adjective from the 14th century. The synonym is, of course, just feverish. I think, let's see, well, they're both from the 14th century, but feverous did not catch on. Or it turned into feverish around the same time, possibly, maybe. Next is fever pitch, 2 words, noun from 1846. is there a movie called Fever Pitch? This is a state of intense excitement and agitation. Why the word pitch, though? Fever pitch, a state of intense excitement or agitation. I'm in a pitch must have some sort of definition that's about the feelings of the people in this area or something like that. I don't know. Fever tree, 2 words. Noun from 1868. Any of several shrubs or trees that are thought to indicate regions free from fever or that yield remedies for fever, but especially an African acacia, and the species name for that one is acacia or acacia xanthophylla. Xanthophylla. Woo-wee. That is a fun word. That starts with an X. So it's so interesting that it says that in the regions where this tree grows, that the people there don't have fever, or this tree could remedy fever. But I guess, like, don't you want the fever to go about its normal process? But I guess if the fever is lasting too long, then they're like, we got to bring the fever down because it's not doing anything. I'm not a doctor, so I don't really know the specifics of this. But yeah, fever tree. It doesn't say what, like, the local name is for this fever tree. This is just the English version of it. I'm sure that they say fever tree in their own language, but I don't know what it is. Very interesting. Okay, now we got one more word. It's the sound I make when I'm cold. I'm an elephant. Now we have fever wort or fever wort. Feverwort. Noun from circa 1814. This is a coarse American herb of the honeysuckle family. And this is called also horse gentian. The species name is, or the scientific name is Triostium perfoliatum. And it's the fever wort. And I don't know, maybe this doesn't say, but maybe this also has something to do with lessening your fever. We need to, I think, get back into, plant medicine a little bit more. Western medicine is good, but plant medicine is also good. There's a reason why these plants have these traits, and so I think we can use them. Not capitalize on them and not make a ton of money on them. Use them to help people's medical problems. Okay, let's see. Well, I think those were all the words we had today. Feudality, feudalize, feudatory, feudist, feuilleton, or feuilleton, foilgen reaction, fever blister, feverfew, feverish, feverous, fever pitch, fever tree, fever wort. Well. We learned some interesting stuff today. I realized there was a song. It's that song, You Give Me Fever. It's a very slow, cool, jazzy, sexy song. And I can't think of all the words. You give me fever, but a deeper. But how does it go? I can't remember. But you give me fever, and I'm going to give you fever. Oh, we don't want to do that. But I think I'm going to pick, just because it's silly, fever blister as the word of the episode. I got a fever blister on my lip. You might call it a cold sore, but I call it a fever blister. All right. That's it for this episode. Thank you so much. Now let's tell you about a movie. Oh, we watched The Changeling. This is from like 1980. We saw this in a theater. There's a local small theater that's doing like a once a month kind of cult movie thing. And so Changeling is one of Sharon's favorite movies. It's got that guy, George C. Scott. Is that right? and and he's in a haunted house. That's all I want to say. But it's got some great stuff, and we learned some stuff about the movie. And you should watch The Changeling. It's not the one with Angelina Jolie. It's a totally different movie. The Changeling. It's kind of a creepy movie. It's kind of a funny movie. There are some funny parts I did not expect. That is going to do it for me today. I hope I don't have a fever. If I stood outside for a while, I might get a fever, but I am going to stay inside because it's so cold. This has been Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye.